You might already know the fact that if you want to grow a profitable, sustainable business, it's not just about doing the right things. It's also about avoiding all of the wrong things as much as possible, because those are the things that really waste your time, right? So today I wanted to talk about some of the myths that I see a lot of small business owners still believing again and again. I see my clients making these mistakes, clinging to these myths, and it really prevents them from being able to grow their business and help it reach the potential that it actually has. So I'm hoping that if I share them with you here and share a little bit more information about them, maybe you can avoid them and help your business really take off. Before I do that, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. In case you are new here, hi, I'm Abby. I'm a systems coach and online business manager. I help small business owners unlock the power of data-driven decision making so that they can get more clients, make more sales, and build businesses that really have a meaningful impact on their lives. I live in Southern Michigan with my husband and daughter, and I can frequently be found rewatching 2000s sci-fi TV and still creating spreadsheets for fun. That's kind of a leftover pastime from as far back as probably at least high school. I have been helping people use statistics and analytics to answer questions and make decisions for at least 10 years. First as a sociology professor and now as a data analyst for small business owners. And I'll be honest, I've kind of always been interested in data analysis and statistics and numbers and what all of these things mean. And I know that that is not the usual. I know that most people find them very overwhelming. And part of my mission is to make it easy and accessible so that you can use your numbers to grow your business. And a big part of that is really just the way that you're thinking about those numbers, the way that you're thinking about analytics and data analysis. I'm not a huge fan of the whole mindset fixes everything idea, but there are certain things that mindset can get in the way of. And so those are the things that I'm going to share with you today. So without further ado, these are the top 3 myths that I see that really seem to be holding a lot of the people that I work with back from really growing the business that they want to grow, meeting the full potential that their business could have. The first myth that I see a lot is the idea that analytics are only for big businesses. And before I keep going, this is completely understandable. It's partly due to some of the other myths that we're going to talk about and some of the myths that I talk about in my free class that's coming up this week. But it is an understandable myth because a lot of the things that we believe about analytics might make it sound like you have to have a lot of time and money to put into this in order to make it work. And those are myths. Those are myths that I'm going to talk about. So this idea that analytics are only for big businesses is completely false. Analytics are an extremely powerful tool for businesses of all size, including small ones, including tiny ones. Even if you are the only person in your business, analytics will help you save so much time and money once you know what you're doing with them. And it's actually not as hard to figure that out as it might seem. When it comes to programs like Google Analytics, small businesses are exactly who those kinds of services are designed for. If I'm remembering the figure correctly, something like 48%, like almost half of the businesses using Google Analytics right now are classified as small businesses. So businesses with like 1 to 10 employees. So, this is actually information that is designed for you as a small business owner to use. And the reason that this is such a powerful tool that you should be taking advantage of is that no matter what size your business is, everything that you do online and offline is generating all of these little bits of information. And when you take that information and you organize it into statistics or into analytics, and you figure out what those pieces of information are trying to tell you, because they're trying to tell you a story about how your business is doing. When you can read that story, when you can figure out what that information is trying to tell you, you can learn all kinds of things about your business and your audience. So things like what draws your audience's attention and what gets them to buy from you, whether or not your sales funnel is working, if you're getting all the sales that you could be, or if something is broken so that you're losing sales, if you're losing money. It can tell you which of your marketing efforts are actually working, which ones are the most worth your time. And this is all information that you could use to make more purposeful decisions in your business, decisions that aren't going to waste your time, rather than trying to guess at what's working and figure it out by trial and error. That's why I will always tell people that the truth here is that when you embrace data-driven decision making and analytics as a small business, you are able to make more efficient use of your time, your energy, your budget, and that's going to leave you with increased profits and a more sustainable business. And it's all going to happen a lot faster than if you accidentally stumble on what works. The second myth that I wanted to talk about is the idea that analytics take a lot of time to measure. And I mentioned this briefly in my intro, but the thing is, it really shouldn't take you that much time. Most of the small business owners that I talk to, it turns out that they're actually trying to track too much, too often, either one or the other or both. They're trying to track too many things, numbers that really don't tell you that much, beyond if you look at them every once in a while. You don't actually have to be tracking them on a regular basis, or they're tracking things too often. There are certain numbers that you might need to track once a week. Most things, it's more like once a month. And honestly, there are some things that I only look at once a quarter, or only when I'm doing a launch, or only when I'm trying to look at a marketing campaign, only when I am trying to troubleshoot a funnel. So once you've figured out what numbers you actually need to look for and set up a system for tracking just those numbers, it really doesn't take that long. The trick here is to focus in on the metrics that matter most for your goals. This is something that I teach in several of my programs, things like 30-minute metrics and my profit by numbers workshop. I teach my minimal metrics framework that basically leads to, for me, it takes less than 30 minutes a week to track, and then about an hour each month on top of that to interpret and come up with my action plan based on what my analytics tell me. And if you are in a position that you have a team member like a VA, for instance, and some online business managers like me do this part as well, that's the tracking of those metrics is something that you can hand off. It's something that you can delegate once the system is set up. Once you can say, I need this number, and this number, and I want you to put them into this tracking system. That part isn't something that just any VA is going to be able to design, but it is something that any VA should be able to go in and find those numbers and keep track of them for you. The other side of this is that when you use analytics in your business, you actually end up saving a lot more time in the long run, because if you think about all of the things that I talked about being able to know from your numbers, All of those things are things that can help you make more purposeful decisions, like I said before. And so instead of guessing and wasting your time, you are saving so much time and energy by using data to pinpoint what needs to be tweaked or what's not working or what is working, so that you don't have to spend time guessing and trialing and hoping that you stumble on which part needs fixed. So the truth here is that using data to grow your business really shouldn't take you that long, and it will actually save you so much time in the long run. Tons of time. The third myth that I wanted to talk about today is the idea that data analysis is expensive. And again, this is really easy to understand why people would believe this, especially if you have ever Googled how much data analysis costs for small businesses. Because if you Google that, you'll come up with this super scary fact that's something like $10,000 to $100,000 a year, being the cost of data analysis for small to mid-sized companies. And for most of us small business owners, that is not a figure that we're going to entertain, right? That is not a number that's like, yes, I'm going to do that. But the good news is that figure doesn't apply to you, most likely. Figures like that assume that you need to pay for all kinds of specialized tools and skilled work hours to collect and store the data, to organize and process the data, to create the reports and the charts and the graphs. And only then can you get around to actually figuring out what the data means, what it means for your business. But as a small business, you don't have to worry about most of that. Your data is, for the most part, collected and stored automatically by the platforms that you're already using as a small business. So things like your website provider, your mailing list, your shopping cart, all of those are already collecting and storing the data that you need, and they're already processing it. They're already picking out the pieces that are important and giving you a summary that is the useful piece of information, the useful analytic that you need to make a decision about what to do in your business. For all of the rest, your most powerful tool is Google Analytics, because Google Analytics, when it's set up correctly, it collects and processes information about your website, your e-commerce shops, your shopping carts. It can integrate with things like your mailing lists and some of your social media and your ad platforms, search engines. If your business runs an app, it will process information about how your customers are using your apps. In other words, programs like Google Analytics are your data analyst these days. For a small business owner, it is the most powerful data analyst that you could possibly hire, except that it's completely free. So you have access to a ton of data absolutely free. And that's exactly why I created my course, Analytics Blueprint, and my free class that's coming up this week to empower other small business owners like you to take advantage of the power of this free tool, regardless of your budget or your math skills. Now, there are more myths that I want to talk about, but I'm going to save those for my free class. If you want to get all 5, make sure that you check out my upcoming class, Data Driven Magic: How to Ditch Guesswork and Skyrocket Sales with Google Analytics. In this class, I'll be sharing the 3-step system that I use, that my students use, that I use with my clients to grow a sustainable business with more profits and less guesswork. I'll be sharing the 5 myths that are holding you back from reaching your business's full potential, including why you don't need to be a data analysis expert in order to use things like Google Analytics, and some simple steps to help you get started right now. And if you're ready to really dive in even beyond the free class, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to work with me more closely to really unlock the power of Google Analytics for your small business so that you can confidently use your numbers to get more clients and make more sales. Keep in mind that this free class is for you if you want to make decisions in your business that you know will get you more clients, make more sales, and grow your business. If you're curious about the idea of data driven decision making, but you don't really know where to start, this will be a great first step for you. This class is for you if you've maybe managed to figure out what some of your metrics mean, but you're by and far overwhelmed by the amount of data and all the unfamiliar terms. Or if you have in the past tried to analyze your sales funnel or your marketing campaigns, but you're just frustrated because you can't figure out how to turn that data into useful information or practical steps, I will help you with how to do that in this free class. And this class is definitely for you if you just want an easy, straightforward system to start making data-driven decisions in your business in just 3 weeks. So if that sounds like you definitely need to be at this class. To save your seat, just go to abbyblumsuds.com/free class and grab your spot today. And as a final heads up, this is stuff that I usually only share with my paid clients, so you definitely don't want to miss this class. I'll see you there, and thanks for watching.